Okay, so what have we been up to? We've had quite a few busy days, haven't we?
Big days in Perth.
Yeah, Perth. So we spent a bit more time in Perth because I had a few business appointments and stuff. But I guess it was nice just
really
to sit and get lots of stuff done. And we actually started a new routine.
Yes, the kids started school.
So back to school. Excited about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, anyway, kids got their laptops out and basically just sat there and went through the curriculum and whatever the teachers had set for them. I guess through COVID and stuff, they know how to do online school now. So allow them to easily just snap back into learning stuff through that process. So yeah.
And then we settled into some work, and then it was a good opportunity to clean out the van, do the sheets and the towels, and stock up on groceries. So with the new routine, it means that the afternoons are our sightseeing times. So the second afternoon, I'm not sure which one, we ended up at Kings Park. Yeah, so Kings Park, went and checked out a lot of the Anzac memorials they had there, and pretty much fortunate enough that Anzac Day was only a couple of days ago or whatever, so a lot of the reefs and stuff were still out. We got there fairly late, didn't we? We did, for sunset. Yeah. We've heard that the Perth skyline at night is different to a lot of the other cities in Australia, so we really wanted to see the Swan River and Perth lit up. So we did leave it a bit later, and it was nice to see the Anzac flame at sunset. Yeah,
that big memorial thing they got there. So it would have been a pretty good Anzac Day memorial there as well. But also in through Kings Park, there's a lot of the botanic gardens.
Yeah.
Is it?
The WA Botanic Gardens, which is really set up well. There's lots of paths and lots of access through. We saw the big boab tree that had been transported from up north in the Kimberley. Different musings. There's a women's garden and a natural garden. We got there a little bit late to do the glass bridge. The gates to that shut at 5 p.m, which we didn't realise, so we didn't get that far. The next day, which was a big day, we headed to Freo.
Freo was, I don't know, a couple of people have said, even one of my customers basically said, oh, you need to go to Freo. And I'm like, well, it's in Freo. And he goes, look, you just got to go to Freo and check it out. So even my dad said, you need to go check out Freo. So I thought, well, two people have said it, let's go check it out. And I guess once we parked the car, because we're going to catch the ferry.
We're going to catch the ferry anyway to Rottnest.
So we actually parked the car at the Wilson's parking area.
Right on the dockland there.
Yeah, and I think that was like $10
for 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
So we got there a bit early because we wanted to check out Freo, but as we walked around from the car park into the centre of Freo, you'd think you're in Hollywood. Like, it was like walking through a Hollywood set. Just all these old buildings. It's quite spectacular.
But like charming old buildings, not run down historical buildings. Like, really well painted, really well decorated, the decor, the time period. It just felt like you were in this other world. It was really clean. The streets were clean and tidy. It just felt like a really old world neighbourhood.
Yeah, it's surreal. Like you said, it's just like you're in a different country, effectively.
We're so glad we did it during the day. Because it was just amazing to walk around there.
So when we were there, we actually went and checked out the iconic Fremantle markets.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. A bit different from what we're used to. And saying we haven't been to markets in a while, but this was something different because you get to try all these different foods, didn't we? The bao buns.
Croissant bao buns, though, not just normal bao buns.
No, that's banh mi.
Oh, banh mi, sorry. Yeah, so croissant banh mi.
Banh mis.
Fudge.
Yeah, fudge.
Pretzels.
Yeah. So we could have spent a lot of time there just eating.
And money.
But we didn't spend as much time in there, but it was just spectacular to see all the different produce and all the different trinkets and little things you can buy through there.
There was lots of people though.
Lots of people.
Yeah, so lots of people.
It's like a Saturday morning thing that people do, I think.
And then on top of that, they got all little street performers and stuff down there. So it's pretty cool that just to go and check out. And the coffee was pretty good as well.
Coffee was really good.
Yeah, you could tell they really cared about the coffee. So some of those baristas. But yeah, overall it was a pretty good experience there before we headed off.
headed back to the docks. So we use the Rottnest Express ferries. There's a couple of providers. We use the red ferries, being the Rottnest Express. So they're normally out of, I think, the B shed, which is a famous shed on the docks of Freo. But they're under renovation. So it's out of the E shed. But you can see the big red shipping containers and signs everywhere saying ferry tickets here. So I think the return ticket for the 5 of us was about $176 or something. You can choose different fares with different pricing, so we chose a couple of the cheaper ones, but yeah, $176, which covered both journeys, just the ferry. We didn't hire any equipment or anything like that. We were more interested in seeing the quokkas, to the point actually that we were worried and having this conversation on the ferry on the way over. Do you think we're actually going to see any? What if we've paid this money to go and see quokkas in their natural habitat and we don't see any?
So it's all thanks to the adverts on TV that the kids wanted to go see quokkas. So I don't think it was really on the list, Rottnest.
No, it wasn't.
But quokkas, damn you quokkas,
yeah.
We have to spend money to go and see them. But yeah, it was just one of those things that we were worried about not seeing any, and when you get there,
within 5 minutes of landing and heading into the settlement, it's called the town settlement, then you start to see them and you just get enamored with them, don't you? They're very cute little things. Very
cute. The way they sleep just between their legs. Yeah, they're pretty amazing creatures. So the quokkas, and we don't actually, I don't know, you don't get them on the East Coast.
No.
Apart from in the zoo.
Yeah. But they're not like anything. They're not a bilby, but they're not a meerkat, but they're not a... Yeah, they're just different again.
Yeah, it's like a wombat with a kangaroo. I don't know, just another weird...
With a rat's tail. With
Australian creature. But yeah, pretty cool little creature. You can get up fairly close to them and take selfies with them.
Don't touch them, don't feed them.
That's what the recommendations are. So yeah, I guess try and obey by those rules.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're little really cute animals,
but they do approach you too, so you'll just be sitting there and they will come up to you, and they're very inquisitive little creatures. But yeah,
come up, give you a bit of a sniff and a little bit, like put their little paws in the air and sniff you. But yeah, they're really cute. So as we were walking along, we just saw them on the way to Pinky Beach, I think it was.
Yeah, we did the lighthouse walk and then around Pinky's Beach, I think that's what it's called, and then around into the basin.
So yeah, just on top of that lighthouse, you get to oversee Pinky's Beach, and yeah, you get to see that white sand and turquoise blue water again. So
it's honestly like nothing I've ever seen. The water is just incredible.
Yeah, this is all over the West Coast though. It just seems to be just this watercolour you guys get over in the West Coast. But yeah, overall we did Pinky Beach, just walked along there and try and headed up to the next bay. I don't remember the name of that bay.
The basin was the next one around.
Was that the next one?
Yeah, the basin.
So we just walked up to there and just sat, I guess.
Yeah, had some morning tea, just sat for a little bit. And then tried to get our bearings. We actually found that there were some gun batteries. Is that what they're called?
I think
Munitions
so.
And another lighthouse in the middle of the island. And so we're trying to work out if we could get there or not and how to get there.
So it's a little bit, I know, we found it a bit confusing because we thought we could go one way and then the other way. But because we're only there on such a short time, very conscious of needing to be back to catch the ferry.
Yeah.
And because we didn't know how far distances were, because it's not really marked on the map, we really didn't have an indication. So at one attempt we did try to walk to the gun barrels, and then we saw the lighthouse in the distance, and
then there was a sign finally at this I guess it was like a trailhead where 3 or 4 trails come together. It told you, go this way it's 2Ks, go that way it's 4Ks, this way 6Ks, and we sort of went, yeah, all of those are a little bit out of reach for the time.
Thankfully, we do exercise in the morning, or we try to do exercise, so we know how long it takes
us
to
do 2 kilometres.
Yeah, and that's at pace. So talk about that with kids. There was just no way we're going to get there.
And unsheltered. There was not really any shade on those tracks that we could see from there.
In hindsight, yeah, maybe we should have hired some bikes, but probably a little bit longer there, and maybe would have swam, but the water the weather wasn't.
It wasn't really that warm.
In saying that though, the kids are will swim in anything. So.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, we just didn't have enough time there. But if you want to swim over there and do all the walks and stuff, you're probably going to need a day, if not an overnight, on Rottnest, because there probably is a lot more to do.
Yeah.
I think we have our new favourite animal, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, these little quokkas. They're so cute. Yeah. So, but these quokkas, they're pretty cute. But I don't know if I'd go back again just to see quokkas.
No.
But for the first time for us, it was pretty special to see quokkas, especially roaming around in the wild and be able to get really close to them. Like, you can get really close to these creatures, and they're not I thought, are they going to fight you? Are they going to attack you? But they are a wild animal, so that's probably why they're saying just stay back a little bit. But yeah, they're really cute. Yeah. So that was Rottnest, and then we just caught the ferry back.
4:30 ferry back, and this time we actually sat on the back deck and watched Rottnest and the island disappear with the sun as we headed back, which was quite nice.
It was actually surprising to see them how they load things onto the back of the ferry with all the bikes and stuff on there.
Get it all back over.
But yeah, it's like they put them over and then bring them back. So yeah, but yeah, just seeing Rottnest off into the sunset, like a movie scene.
The sun setting.
Yeah, we headed back to Perth, and then decided to go and check out a few more sites in Freo.
Well, we're Amazing Race Australia fans, the family, and so in last season's, I don't know if it was the finale or just before the finale, they spent the day in Freo seeing some things, so we thought we'd retrace their steps.
Yeah.
So we went out to the
Cage Brewery.
what was that lighthouse?
South Mole
Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Out there, which was their pit stop area. So
I thought it was bigger than in TV, but it's not.
It was a long way out there.
Yeah, it's still small. I thought it was bigger. But yeah, got to see the South Mole, walk out there. In hindsight, we probably should have driven there.
Yeah, you can drive out there.
You can drive out there. You can also fish along there as well. But
it was starting to blow really cold out there as well.
Yeah. So we made the trek out to South Mole and then back up to
the Roundhouse.
Yeah.
Which is a historic prison / quarantine / something house.
Yeah.
Back in. Yeah, Watchtower, I think it was, and whaling. It had a bit of whaling history as well. The Roundhouse itself was closed, the internal historical part of it, but up on the gardens you could go and walk around there, where they did one of the challenges for the Amazing Race was up there.
So we did get to see the sunset further on the lookout up there. And just seeing how far that is to the South Mole. But yeah, it was pretty nice just to sit there and watch the sun and the orange hues just go set in the seas. We're not used to seeing the sunset behind the seas, so it was nice actually seeing that. And then we just went out and went
down the hill and had some fish and chips.
And saw the on the way back we saw the big Ferris wheel.
Oh yeah,
the big Ferris wheel. Went around seeing that was pretty pricey, I thought, for what it was.
Yeah.
It was like $50 or $60 or something it would have cost us for a family.
And I'm not sure that you would have seen a lot at that time of day. For up there.
But if the Ferris wheels are your thing, then go for it. But yeah, for us, we were just running late, so we just wanted to get back to the car, which we managed to get back just in time, I think. And then what happened after that?
We left Perth and headed north.
All right, we're back. Well, don't you love technology? The camera overheated, so I don't know where we got up to, but I think it was around, we were heading north. Yeah. Yep. So what happened there?
So we actually stopped that day at the Pinnacles. Pinnacles. So, Pinnacles. Wow. Where do we start with the Pinnacles?
Pinnacles is an amazing place. It's kind of surreal, stuff that we've never seen it before. So I guess we were talking to your parents a couple of days prior, and they basically saying you got to go check out the Pinnacles, and
we weren't.
You know, we weren't going to. It wasn't on the plans. We've never heard of the Pinnacles, and I think it's in the Pinnacles Desert National Park. As that's what you'd call it, because it's in the Pinnacles. But the Pinnacles place is a amazing place. Like, it's just so surreal that you've got these different rock formations coming through. So
it wasn't out of our way, and it was sealed to get there.
Yeah, so, and I think it was also
in the park pass.
So we thought, why not? If you don't have the pass, it's once again, I think it's $15 a day to go in there. But if you're doing the type of trips we're doing, go get the longer passes, and especially the annual pass, and you just don't know what you're gonna, which park you're gonna need it in and what you're gonna see. And so far, it saves you money in the long run. So the Pinnacles. When you get there, you actually will have to unhitch your caravan or trailer, so you can't actually take that through the Pinnacles desert track. But there is plenty of bays out there to unhitch and unhook, but you just need to make sure you go into the right bay, because there's some others for the coaches that go down there. But plenty of parking when we were there. There's a lot of room to back in and maneuver, but just make sure you go into those right bays, because if you get stuck in those car parks, it's a bit of a nightmare to try and turn around in such a tight places. So once you've unhitched, you head out to the actual desert track itself. Yeah, so it's about a 4-kilometre loop on sandy desert track. Yeah, you don't need to air down or anything. No, you don't need four-wheel drives or high clearance vehicles.
It's a form track. It's got like rocks down each side to show you where the track is. Yeah,
little guided rocks to make sure you don't hit anything.
But you start this track and then you go around this corner, and then it just opens up to.
You just don't know what you're looking at. These rock formations are just coming straight out of the ground, and they're like small, large, tall, high,
different heights, different widths,
and just scattered throughout the whole place. And then just to think, the sea's just a few or a couple of kilometers away. How did you get here? Why are you here? What's so special about this particular rock formations? Because I don't know whether they're limestone or something, are they?
Yeah, so it's limestone, but it's not. It's the kids called it. What did you call it? Fossilized dinosaur poo.
It looked like big dinosaur poos.
It was just some
big clumps dinosaur poo.
Some were smooth, some were sharp, some were rough. Just out of nowhere, like you're driving on a road and then you drive a couple of kilometres east and you're just at this, and there's hundreds of thousands of them, I would say.
Yeah, they're just scattered throughout the whole park, and different colours. Some have got some red dirt through it, some have got some black dirt through it, and it's just pretty amazing just driving through it. You're just in awe of going, how did you get here? Why are you actually here? So the Pinnacles is very surreal place.
Well worth the stop. If you've got a park pass and you're heading north, and it only took us probably 45 minutes maybe. There's the lookout in the middle.
So there's a couple of lookouts and stuff in the middle, and a couple of places to pull out and stop. But you're just taken by what's actually before you through there. So you don't actually have to drive through there as well. If you don't want to unhitch and unhook, there is actually a walking track to walk through the place. But
I think that's something that surprised me too, is you can actually touch it and walk through them and have a look at them and explore them, and that's something that most other places you can't do that, like at Uluru and different caves. You're sort of restricted from actually getting up close and personal. But here, we were walking in and out them. The kids were playing hide and seek through them.
Yeah, they actually caught up with some another travelling family. That we bumped into there from, I think you guys met them at Lucky Bay. So funny enough, bumped into them at the Pinnacles. So but the kids are playing hide and seek through there, and it was nice just to let the kids run off for a while and play with some friends that they met. So there's also the museum at the end of it. So the museum at the end gets to show you a couple of some wildlife. Is it in the actual park itself, or is that WA in general?
WA in general, but mainly
Can't quite remember.
desert animals throughout.
And then we actually got to see a thing that we got called was the sand groper.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was your
A
dad.
colloquial name for West Australians.
Poppy called us sand gropers, and we couldn't understand why we were getting called sand gropers. We actually got to see not a live sand groper, it's a taxiderm. Is that what you call it? Taxiderm of a sand groper. And that was there. We got to see that, and it also gives you a bit of an indication as to how these
limestone pillars
were formed.
Yeah,
through there, and obviously you got your souvenir shops, and you get coffee or whatever through there. But there's toilets and stuff up there as well. Area. So yeah, that was the Pinnacles.
Well worth the stop, I think.
Definitely well worth it. Yeah, if you've never been there before, definitely stop there because it's kind of
it's
just
different.
very surreal.
It's so different.
Yeah, nothing we've ever seen before like that before. Yeah. And then what did we do after Pinnacles?
We did a quick stop. We had one of the travelling families that we were talking to earlier was stopping at Jurien Bay. Apparently it is one of the largest, or it is the largest Australian sea lion colony breeding ground in Australia. So there's a fairly good chance that if you stay at Jurien Bay, you'll have an encounter with sea lions of some description. So we just thought we'd pop in there to see if that was the case.
Take a bit of a punt or whatever to see if we get to see any sea lions.
Again, when you're going that way and it's a 1 kilometre, you can either take the straight route through town or you can do the tourist drive, which adds an extra 2Ks or something through it. So we just popped in, had a bit of a look. The kids had a play on another playground that they spotted. Stretched
their legs, and it was a pretty cool playground there. Also like some basketball courts, and it's really kind of cool, that foreshore with the jetty to go out fishing and stuff as well. So
I think it would absolutely be pumping during summer season.
Yeah.
But we saw nothing.
So yeah, stopped in at Jurien Bay and then kept heading north.
Yeah, we stopped at Geraldton in the RV section. What did we want to say about that?
So there's an RV camping section that we found on Wiki Camps, and it says you could stay there overnight or 24-hour period. So we pulled up. It was getting quite late, so we weren't sure we were going to get a spot there. But when we got there, we could see rows of caravans parked up. So we managed to. I think there was 2 or 3 spaces left, but they're real tight. Like I'm telling you right, literally open the door, you can touch the person. We could help them cook, basically.
Yeah.
They're that close. So we managed to find a spot. We pulled in.
Set up.
Got
the
the kids ready to school work because we started a bit earlier, and then no sooner than that we heard a knock on the door, and we thought, who could that be? Looking inside the caravan, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we're all here. Who's knocking? Opened up the door, and our surprise, there was 2 ladies, and they were actually rangers. So basically they were saying, you're not allowed to be here, you need to move on. And this was pretty late. I think this was around about 6 o'clock. So we're kind of told to move on. You can't park there. The only place you can stay is over in the designated areas, and they said it's marked yellow. So obviously now you look, and they are painted yellow. There's not many spaces there, and they told us the reason they only allow a few is to support the caravan parks and that, which I understand. But yeah, they stopped at 6 o'clock, which was quite late. So I guess we started frantically trying to work out where we're going to go, where we're going to sleep, because looking on Wiki Camps, we couldn't find any free camps north of us or south. It was quite a fair distance out, and I did ask the ranger. I said, where are we supposed to go? He said, you need to go find a caravan park or keep finding somewhere else to go. I think she said Ep4 or something from memory.
That was a few hundred Ks up the road, I think.
Yeah, to go there. She goes, if you stay here, you will be booked.
Meanwhile, I was on the phone trying to ring caravan parks whose offices all seem to close at 6.
Yeah.
This is 6:05.
And after a couple of calls to caravan parks, we couldn't get through. I said, you know what, I'm just going to go back out, see if the ranger's there, and have another chat with her. And as I was talking to her, I said, look, we're trying to ring caravan parks. We can't get anything. What do you want us to do? Where are we supposed to go? We're tired.
Yeah. Big day.
She basically said, look, as long as you leave by 6:30 in the morning, you'll be okay. So, because it's hard, like if you're tired, where are you supposed to go? And if you think you could, if you could find somewhere else, you can. But if it's so far along, and if you're tired, you have an accident. A couple of the other guys already started drinking. So where are they meant to go?
They legally couldn't drive anywhere anymore. I think one of them said he had 3 drinks already.
Yeah, so legally he couldn't drive. And then it's kind of like, well, coming so late doesn't give people an opportunity to actually go and find caravan parks when they're open. But I guess for us, by the time I got back, you actually found something.
Yeah, thankfully one of the caravan park receptionists transferred the office phone to her mobile. So I think about 6:15, I managed to get hold of her. Her name was Summer. She answered the phone. She was really lovely, and she said, "Yeah, I've got room. Come on down." So I think that was $45 she charged for the night for a powered site, but it was an ensuite site. So I said to her, "Well," she goes, "I've just left the office, but ring me when you get to reception and I'll come out." So I thought, okay, so I raced out and said, "I've found somewhere." So we thought, well, let's go and do that. So yeah, $45 ensuite site. She came back to the office and met me there. She lives, it was the African Reef Motel and Caravan Park. So she has a house on site that she lives in. So yeah, she came out, was really accommodating.
So the park wasn't the best of parks. Like, it looked like it was run down. I do believe it's getting renovated.
That's what I heard, yeah.
At the moment. So they're not really advertising, and it was a flat fee of $45. It didn't matter how many kids we had, I think she said.
Yeah.
Flat fee for us to use, and
all the sites were ensuite sites.
Yeah, and the bonus thing was there was no one checking into our site the next day, so we could have a late checkout.
Stay as long as you want, that's fine.
Which was really cool and nice of her to fit us in. We did get in there, it was dark at that
Pretty
particular
late.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we did manage to find somewhere. But yeah, just really a bit shocked to find that you couldn't stay there, which I know we should have probably looked at it a bit more closely.
But even she was surprised that the rangers had moved everybody on. And it wasn't
summer.
Yeah, it wasn't just us. There was a whole row of caravans that now had to find somewhere and people were more set up than us. And she was even surprised. She's like, she goes, well, that's why I answer my phone, because I feel bad for if someone's broken down or a truckie. She's like, they need somewhere to stay. I've got somewhere to stay. I may as well answer my phone unless my rooms are all full. So
yeah, so that was really good.
She was really lovely.
Got it in.
So that was our experience of Geraldton. It was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, it just took us by surprise. Normally we have stayed in a couple of places, but they're normally generally pretty accommodating. But yeah, there's not like there was no room in the whole area. There's plenty of room, and it wasn't like boats and stuff were there. It was quite offside to the track, but yeah, they're pretty strict. Whether they're cracking down on it, I'm not sure, but it was a bit shock to us. And like I said, Summer, she was a bit surprised as well by that. But anyway, Summer was lovely, and the caravan park, and we had a nice long shower.
We did. We all had a really nice shower
in the ensuite. So it was
2 showers.
It's, a bit of a bonus for us anyway. So so that was our
quick stop at Geraldton.
Take of Geraldton. Anyway, we'll move on. Yeah,
one of the reasons we did want to stop in Geraldton is they had the last Aldi heading north. So just a little heads up. There's a couple of things that we only buy there, so we stopped there on our way out of town and headed.
Yeah, but you actually will see Geraldton. You could tell like there's a lot of the major stores there, and that is pretty much it. So if you need stuff or for getting stuff and you want it at a good price, Geraldton's kind of really appears to be like the last stop,
major stop
to grab stuff. So stock up in Geraldton if you can.
Yep, there's a Bunnings there.
Yeah, there is a Bunnings there.
So further north, we just keep going up the next coast, don't we?
Yeah.
So the first stop that day was Hutt Lagoon.
Hutt Lagoon.
AKA.
Oh yeah, the Pink Lake. So a little bit of advice here is we were planning on going up to the right to heading north, but you actually can't see anything. So fortunate enough, we chose the left lane because that's what the nav man told us to do, and we went down the left side to look at the Pink Hutt Lagoon,
Pink Lake.
You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, went to that lookout there, and it's actually quite narrow. So if you got a caravan, it was quite busy for us. So we couldn't just pull in. Actually, you had to do a U-turn and try and find a spot. But the Pink Lake, yeah, that was pretty. It's another different thing that we haven't seen before. We thought maybe this is what the Pink Lake in South Australia should have looked like. But yeah, this is what it was. Pretty good. It was a little bit low in water.
Yeah.
But overall, the Pink Lake,
it's definitely pink.
It's definitely pink, and you could see the pink. You know, like it was just amazing to see the colour when the sun shines on it as well.
Yeah.
The Pink Lake.
There were lots of tourists there, and a few of them went in.
They were a lot braver than what we were. We've heard that thing is pink because of all the bacteria and stuff in there in the lake. So we weren't game enough to go into that Pink Lake, but quite a few people were walking in it. It is quite shallow. Did it smell? Yeah, but it's just the Pink Lake. Yeah. It's not something we'd probably go into, but it does look very pretty. Yeah. I'm not sure how far it goes. Didn't really send the drone out too far to see how far it goes, but overall the Pink Lake was pretty special to kind of see that in its form, and then so close to the road.
Yeah, and then we just headed into Kalbarri National Park.
The south part of
the
Kalbarri.
South part, which is known for its coastal gorges.
I didn't even realise there were these.
No, neither.
These gorges and sites to see as well. So, you know, it wasn't too late. I think it was about 3. So we decided, you know what, we'll go pull in and go and check these things out. So once again, it's just the coastline of WA was at its finest once again.
You're never quite sure in national parks. WA has been really good at actually whether you can get a car and a caravan in there, whether there's turning circles, whether you're going to have to back your way out. But at these particular ones, we saw a tourist bus, like a big coach, go down in there. So we thought, well, if he can get in there and turn around, and he's a professional commercial operation, surely we can. And so we did. We stopped at, I think, 3 or 4 of them.
So I think another natural bridge.
Yeah, another natural bridge. And then Island Rock, they were sort of at the same place. Very similar to, Island Rock was similar to the Great Ocean Road. Sort of just standing up there.
So it's, just the same coastline. It's almost a bit like South Australia with the cliffs and stuff again and the formation. So pretty amazing to see. But they've all got designated lookouts to go and check out, and there is actually a board trail between 2 of the lookouts if you're game enough to kind of walk. But it's pretty nice boardwalks. We just didn't have time, or I guess we didn't want to walk, did we?
Flies and heat. But the next one along was the grandstand, and it's funny, you go, I wonder why it's called the grandstand, and then you have a look and it looks like a grandstand. So I think we missed Eagle Gorge.
But they do tell you, there's a couple of them that said no caravans, or no trailers or whatever, so you knew to bypass those ones. And
then a couple of them we weren't sure, so we just didn't take that chance.
Yeah, so after checking all of those out, we decided, because they're broken into sections, so there was 4 close together, and then another 4 on further down. I think there was one called Eagle Rock. Eagle Rock, no. Well, we thought it was Eagle Rock, so we started singing the Eagle Rock song, and the
much
kids,
to the embarrassment of the children.
The kids had no idea. But it's actually Eagle Bluff, Eagle Gorge, and then you can actually another lookout. That one there, you can walk down to the beach as well. to have a bit of a swim and stuff.
But it was getting quite late in the day by then, by the time we'd done the few walks and lookouts.
So then we came back onto the road and kept going down, and there was our surprise, there was still more, like the mushroom
rock, which we didn't stop at, Rainbow Bluff or something like that it's called.
So there's quite a few along there, but yeah, we just, at that particular point, we weren't sure if we could get the caravan down to it, so we just kept driving to the caravan park, because late in the day, get stuck trying to, you just want to get to the caravan park and just relax. So we actually stayed at the Murchison Caravan Park. I think it might actually be, I don't know if it's changed its name. I think it could be a Tasman something caravan park now, but on wiki camps and stuff it's known as the Murchison Caravan Park. The next day we went out to
Kalbarri North, which are known as the River Gorges. Kalbarri section.
So that I think is about, what was it, 20 or 30 k's or something?
Something out of town, yeah.
Something out of town. So that one there also, Parks Pass is covered by Parks Pass?
Yes.
Yeah, so once again covered by the Parks Pass.
Yep.
And we went first up to the Z-Bend.
Yep.
Z-Bend?
Z-Bend.
Z-Bend? Z-Bend. I went up to the Z-Bend, and I think that was about 1.5 k's to the lookout, and maybe 2 k's down to the water. That looked pretty cool, but as soon as we opened the door, it was fairly warm. It was hot. And what happened, kids? The flies. Wow.
Oh, the flies.
There were flies. Like, I could not believe it. So the night before, actually the day of, I got the fly nets out, put them on our table and said, remember, we've got to take these because there's flies around.
Yeah.
So when we got there, where's the fly nets? I don't know.
Yeah, none of us put them in.
No one knew where they were. So we had these fly nets stuck back in the caravan, and I tell you what, I would have paid a fortune for one. Honestly, would have. There were just so many flies there. So we ended up just finding little bits of sticks or whatever on the ground, and twigs or whatever. We
think other people had forgotten their fly nets because there were lots of swatting-sized sticks at the end of the start of the trail.
Yeah.
And we just recycled someone's.
So we picked those up, and as you're swatting away, I think by the time we got to the Z-Bend lookout, my arms had these little welts on them. I'm like, what are these from? My back and my neck started itching, and I think I picked up one. Someone had one called, like, they look like little stinging needles. So the little ends broke off and they had little needles all in my arms.
Tiny little fiberglass almost.
Yeah.
Weren't
so if you're using stuff as there, just be careful what you're picking up. So.
Yeah. But I think 4 out of 5 of us ended up with these itchy skin.
Yeah, just these little stinging things stuck in our arms. But when you're there, the lookout was absolutely beautiful. Like, to see, you could see why they call it the Z-Bend, and just of the way that
the power of water.
Yeah, it just goes through, and it was quite amazing to see the water. And then when you're actually thinking where we're staying in the caravan park, this is kind of part of that same river system. So it's pretty spectacular to see the Z-Bend, and just, you know, overlooking that red cliffs with the river running through it was pretty special. Yeah.
The walk down to the river bed would have been a nice walk. There's ladders and scrambles and things, but we just weren't equipped for it. It was too late in the day.
It was hot.
And
the flies.
If we had fly nets, maybe we would considered it, but it is. I would think that would be worth it, doing that walk down.
Yeah, we just couldn't do it with the flies. The flies were terrible. We harping on about flies here, but wow, they felt.
And then we came back and the whole bonnet was just full of
little
flying bugs,
insects and bugs and stuff. So then we headed out from there, just up the road. I think maybe 5 or 10 k's is
the Sky Walk.
Yeah, the iconic Kalbarri National Park Sky Walk. Yeah. So these structures are just pretty amazing structure, and the engineering that's probably gone into it, just to have these massive platforms overhanging off the cliff. And then as you're walking down, they've got certain sections where you can see straight down through the grades. And I'm just cringing, knees are there, and I'm like, I don't do heights very well, but they're just perfect sizes for rings and for phones. Alright, this is take number 2 for this section because the camera overheated again. I think we're talking about the iconic Kalbarri National Park Sky Walk. So these platforms just overlook
the incredible valley, the Murchison River and the valley. And you can actually see the, you're probably going to say it, the waterline, where the high water mark is, and it almost doubles, I think, the width of the normal river path. Yeah,
and then from one of the platforms you can actually go overlook and see, was it the other iconic thing?
The nature's window, where people are down there.
Yeah, so, but overall these 2 skywalks, as you're walking through, there's actually a little cafe as well in there.
And toilets.
And toilets as well. And they've got these little, I don't know what you call them, they're like these little creatures stuck onto rocks, and they just kind of, from a distance, you think it's real, and you turn around and they just kind of petrify you.
Yeah.
So there's like an emu type structure there, and little lizards and little wild animals walking around, but they kind of take you by surprise, and you go, are you real or what? So they're pretty funny, because it got me a couple of times, those creatures. But yeah, the Kalbarri Sky Walk, it's just, it's pretty amazing. So then after we did the Sky Walk, we went over to do Nature's Window.
Yeah.
So that's the one where you get all these Instagram shots of this iconic, like a window frame, like it just frames the Murchison River through there. So once again, when we got there, man, there were flies everywhere once again. But it's a bit of a short walk down there, isn't it?
Yeah, that one's, I'd say maybe a kilometre, maybe.
Bit of a kilometre down.
Formed paths.
Yeah.
All of the bushwalks through the Kalbarri National Park have really well formed tracks, and it tells you what sort of grade they are. Around the bottom of the Nature's Window are doing a bit of a rock scramble, but it's all well formed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you get down there.
But it actually overlooks, so we're trying to work out where the river path went. So on the right hand side of Nature's Window, you see the river flowing in one direction with some rapids, and you can see the current flow. Then on the left hand side, you can see it flowing the opposite direction, and so you know that that's downstream. You go, well, that's upstream, that's downstream, where does this river go? And sure enough, you look at the map and it loops around from that point, from Nature's Window, it loops around, and you can do a bushwalk called...
How far is the Murchison River? So you said it was something like
700 kilometres or something. It is. So it's the second longest river, I think, in WA.
But it's pretty amazing to see there. And when you get down to that Nature's Window, you can see why it's Instagram worthy. Like, it is pretty amazing to see this rock formation form like Nature's Window, as it's called. So it was pretty amazing to see that through there. There are lots of opportunities to take photos, but mate, that place is so beautiful to walk through. The only thing that on that day when we were there were just the flies. You just really could not take it in, and all its wonder and splendor and majesty of the place because of all the flies. But apart from the flies, when you can get past that, it's a really amazing, beautiful spot. Even to the point that when you go to the toilet, it's probably got some of the best urinals I've ever been to, because you actually overlook the Murchison River from the urinal. So yeah, it was a pretty amazing through there.
So further east on the way out of Kalbarri town proper, as well as the national park, there's 2 other sections called the Eagles Head, I think.
Not Eagle Rock?
No. Eagles Head and Ross Graham Lookout. Both of these are different, so it's a different section of the Murchison River. One overlooks some rapids and a bit down into the valley where they're trying to rejuvenate kudich or some native animal that they're trying to rejuvenate down there. And then the second one was the Ross Graham lookout. So that one actually was a lookout, and you could walk down actually onto the banks of the Murchison River. Fun fact, Ross Graham was the first teacher in the area, and he really had an eye for conservation. So this whole section of park, he really fought hard to conserve and preserve its natural beauty. And it is the river and the whole area is just, again, something different that we don't have on the east coast as much, I don't think.
Yeah, so yeah, going down to that riverbank, it is rocky in a bit of places, but overall it's a fairly easy walk. But the flies and whatever, they're there as well. But this time we brought our fly net, so it was a bit more enjoyable going down there. But there was water was cold, wasn't it, kids?
Yeah, but it was a hot day. So
It was cold and it was flowing, so I don't know, wouldn't let the kids swim in it just because the water was moving so fast. But yeah,
just on that too, even though it was, I think we got there at about 10:30 in the morning, it was quite warm. So if you are looking at doing any of the walks, take the recommended advice, do them early in the morning, 7 a.m, 8 a.m. I think you'll get much more enjoyment out of it, because it is, even though it's May, it's very warm still.
So that's basically Kalbarri, from Perth to Kalbarri in a nutshell. So I think we'll end it on that note. So if you have found this video informative, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button, because we're also checking out new sites and playing around with different gear and equipment. So on that note, stay tuned for the next one.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.